Welcome to another one of Mrs. M's mini math lessons. Today we'll be looking at problem solving. The strategy that we're going to use today is one that is spelt out by the word chase. So we're going to do C, H, A, S and E. So C is to circle the question. H is to hunt for clues. A is to assemble a plan. S is to solve the problem. And E is to explain your answer. Alright, so let's do the first one. So for many of you, if your goal is to attempt a question, that would be to circle the question. Now, when we look at circling the question, it's not about just circling the entire one. We're looking at specifically what part of this question actually asks us what to do. So sometimes that can be the whole last sentence, sometimes that can be just part of it. So let's look at the question that we're dealing with today. Peter's Club Scout Pack sells snacks for football games. They made $249 last week and $323 this week. How much money did the pack make in all? So let's have a look. So here we've got information about Peter's Club Scout. We're looking at them selling snacks and how much money they made, and really the question is saying how much money. So it's not about how much money do they make in all. The most important part here for circle the question will be to actually circle how much money. So we're looking at a dollar amount. So the answer is actually going to be a dollar amount. And the other bit that's really important in that question is all. So all tells us that we're adding the numbers and that we're looking for a total amount. Okay, so if your goal is to attempt, then most of you will be doing this correctly. Now again, if you circled the entire last sentence, you would be wrong, because this part here isn't really important to telling us exactly what we are calculating. Next step is H. So this one's a pretty easy one because we're looking at all the information that's quite important in terms of solving the question. So H I'm going to do in green. So let's look at the clues it provides us. Now, we're looking at snacks, doesn't really tell us anything, doesn't help me answer the question. I come here, they made $249, so I'm going to actually box that up, that's correct. And then they made $323, that's another one. And again, it's this all that tells me that's actually plus. Okay, so I'm going to write these clues down here. So 249 and then 323, and remember that all tells me that I'm finding a total or I'm adding these numbers, so that's important as well. Now already you might not be able to solve the question, but already you've done quite a bit of work here. You've showed me that you understand what the question's asking. You've identified correctly what the important parts of the question is. So this is where we're looking at our meta language, and now we're going to see if we can assemble a plan. When we talk about assembling a plan, there's different strategies that you can use to solve this question. You could draw a picture, you could draw out a pattern, you could act it out, you could actually use maybe some coins that could, or like fake money, to kind of act out and create the total amount. You could do a sum, you could do a whole bunch of lines. So I'm going to figure out, well, I've actually, if you look at H here, so I'm going to do that in orange. You've got two amounts and you've got a symbol. So already I know, well, probably the easiest amount, it's not going to be easy to draw 249 lines or so on. I'm actually going to try and add them. And they're whole numbers. We all know how to do that. So let's set up a plan. So I'm actually going to do, now, if for some of you this might seem like a hard question, then that's fine. You would leave it at that and you would still get 3 out of the 5 marks. So if you did this correctly, you would get 1. If you've written down the correct clues, you get another mark. And if you've set up a plan or tried to come up with a plan and you've shown that you're working out here, then you would get 1 mark. You don't have to give me an answer. It just means that you actually know that by adding these two numbers you will get an answer, and that is a huge accomplishment. So lastly, we're going to do solve the problem. I might actually do this in purple. So now let's do our sum. So 9 plus 3, so let's count up. 9, 10, 11, 12. So 2 goes down here, 1 gets carried there. 4 plus 2, so 4, 5, 6, plus 1 is 7, and 3 plus 2 is 5. So we've got a total amount, but remember, we know that because we circled the question, it tells us how much money. So we know that the correct units is $572. Now lastly, I want to explain my answer. So this is where you actually answer the question that they asked you. So you would say Peter's Club Scout pack made 572 in all. Okay, so I've used the wording that they've used in the question. I've also used it in that last part as well. So once you've done that, and for example, you've solved the problem, that's another mark, and that's another mark. So each step is worth 1 mark. So worded problems can be quite difficult, especially trying to figure out how to answer them. So it's important then to make sure that you follow each step in order, and even if you're not able to get to even up to here, you're actually being able to show me that you can circle the question accurately and correctly, and that you're actually writing out or signaling the right clues and not just underlining or circling any sorts of words. So we're really looking for these two. We're looking at command words and or command language and our meta language, and hopefully it might just force you to maybe try the second bit, and if you've got this bit then go to the next one, and lastly we're just writing a sentence. Hopefully this helped in answering problem solving questions.